Hello, I'm Derek McGregor. Welcome to Go Ballistic, Sun Sports podcast, which tackles all the major issues in Scottish football. Today I'm joined by Sun Sport columnist Kris Boyd, and Kris, in a special episode, reflects on the latest dramatic developments at Rangers following another spirit-sapping defeat at Kilmarnock. Kris also looks on another big weekend of action in Scottish football, including probably already the game of the season, Celtic versus Aberdeen. Delighted to say I'm joined by Sun Sport columnist Kris Boyd, a man who never fails to hit the target with his opinions. And Kris, I mean, another desperate result for Rangers, and at Kilmarnock, and Philippe Clement was quick afterwards to say no excuses. Do you think the fans are now looking at Clement and thinking you've got no excuses?
Yeah, it's getting to that stage. I think if we go back to last season as well, and it turned for Michael Beale and obviously the start that he had. You've got to look at the start the Rangers have had this year, and okay, I get it. You can put it down to at the start in terms of new players coming in. That the Hearts one, the European one. Celtic, as I said, for me it was another embarrassing defeat at Celtic Park, and then all of a sudden you're looking at it saying, okay, there's signs that it's getting better. But I think if we're being really honest about the whole thing, probably results have papered over the cracks. You look at Hibs, bottom of the league, struggling to get a result, and they should have, and I know it's all should have, would have, could haves and everything here, but you look at Hibs going to Ibrox, they could easily have nicked something. Rangers, they then go to, the Kilmarnock performance is, that is as poor as I have seen in a long, long time. And as you say, Derek, looking at the bigger picture here, I think at the start you can look, and Philippe Clement tried to predict the future in terms of, we will be 200% better come October. I don't see it. I really don't see it. And for me, it is getting to the worrying stage. Listen, I get it. You might have a few people that are saying that, you've got to stick to what's been happening. But you can only stick to it if you can see improvement. And I don't see any improvement. I really don't. The next couple of weeks is going to be massive. You've got a European game on Thursday night. You've got a home game against St Mirren. You then look at,
Aberdeen away.
I could be left with egg in my face because I've said that there's absolutely no chance Aberdeen finish second, and I still believe they don't. But looking at it right now, at least they're a team that's together, they're a team that's fighting, they're a team that's fighting for their manager. Rangers are so far away from that. And, I keep hearing, Rangers and Celtic. Rangers have absolutely no chance of getting anywhere near Celtic this season. Plain simply because of, if you look at yesterday, you get that little opening, you get that little chance to go and apply pressure, and all of a sudden we see a performance like that. It was as if they didn't know exactly what had went on at Celtic Park, 24 hours before. And you've got to say, just devoid of confidence. I get it, but confidence doesn't make you run about. Confidence doesn't make you want to run off the ball when your teammates got it and show for it. As I said, that there is so many problems at Rangers right now. And the worrying thing is, you've got another European tie. I'll be interested to see what the attendance is on Thursday night, Derek. And then you're looking at Sunday again against St Mirren. Huge game at Pittodrie, and then you've got a semi-final. But listen, for me, I just don't see how this is going to improve.
Was the performance at Rugby Park, Kris, even more desperate considering 24 hours earlier, the top two draw? Suddenly, the stakes are even greater for Rangers. You would have thought that they're giving the players an even greater lift, and yet the performance was so mediocre and lacking in so many things.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's where you're looking at it, and there was a little chink of light there to get yourself back into a title race as such. All of a sudden, apply pressure to Aberdeen as well. In terms of, you're looking forward to that week, that game a week on Wednesday, and think to yourself, okay, if we can go here and Rangers must have been thinking, if we can go here, get the 3 points, all of a sudden you're going to Pittodrie with a chance of, as long as you take care of your home game against St Mirren, potentially drawing level with Aberdeen. And everybody's saying that Aberdeen have had a fantastic start and Rangers have been really poor. But after the game yesterday, it just sums up that is the case. Aberdeen have had a fantastic start and Rangers have been really poor. You look at, that's 2 defeats already this season. A draw at Tynecastle as well. There's sometimes you look at the places that Rangers have dropped points. Rugby Park, Tynecastle, Celtic Park. That can happen. Even to the best of Rangers teams. But if you look at the performances in those games, I just don't see anything to fill you with confidence. I really don't. The fact of the matter is as well, Derek, Rangers have scored 1 away goal. 1. And that was a 1-0 at Tannadice. 1 goal and 4 in the league. And you look at it, Celtic, Aberdeen, Dundee United, and I think Dundee have also scored more goals than Rangers so far. Listen, Celtic, you can cut them some slack. But you're thinking Aberdeen, Dundee, and Dundee United have scored more goals right now than what Rangers have. Dundee United won the Championship last year. They were in the Championship. Listen, albeit only Celtic have conceded less than Rangers. But, I really don't know where Rangers go from here because the performances, as I said, the results have probably been papering over the cracks, but yesterday was a wake-up call, and it's you've got to be honest there. The next, I think Ian Crocker read out the stat, is it 7 games in 21 days, something like that? It's a big period for Rangers, and you've got to say it's a big period for Philippe Clement as well.
It could very, very quickly become a major crisis, Kris, could it not?
Well, we all know the nature of the beast in Scotland. Whenever one of the big ones are struggling, sometimes a draw's enough to for it to become a crisis. But it is worse than that right now at Rangers. It's hard to actually, it's hard to actually build a case and say, well, look, there has been improvement in this department. There's been improvement there, and you feel as if it's going to get better in the long run. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I get the fact that there's been players left the football club that were big wages and probably big characters and maybe drove the dressing room and it was time for some of them to move on. I totally get that, and when you're cost cutting, maybe the standard of player that comes in is not at the level of what was there previous, but that's okay. Saying that, if you're judging against Celtic, Rangers have still outspent every other team in the league and should be well clear of every other team in the league. That's just, and I don't see it. And I don't mean, I know it's early on in the season, and you look at points, and it's very difficult when you've dropped a couple of points here and there to be miles ahead. But in terms of performances, in terms of the level, even at the weekend, Aberdeen left Celtic Park with a lot of credit. Hardly any possession. We're able to get back to 2 each. But you look at Celtic, they dominate every single game of football, and that's what the big teams in every country do. They dominate the ball, they keep the ball. That doesn't happen with Rangers. It just does not happen. I don't think that, for any period of time or for a long period, Rangers have been in total control of a game of football and dominated it from start to finish. I get it's hard. I do. But when you see some of how quickly, Rangers might start a game really well, and then there's a big long period in between there where they're all over the place. Then all of a sudden they might finish it well, and that's what people remember. But there's also periods where they have, maybe finished the game well and got a result. But you look at the Hibs game. For 40 minutes they were okay, and then the second half, it was as bad as I've seen. Until yesterday, that is. But I really don't know where Philippe Clement goes from here. To be honest, I just think it's getting to the stage where he was able to kick the can down the street basically in the summer and say, I need to get new players in, I need to get them up to speed. They're up to speed, they're performing, and they're just not performing at the level that Rangers need them to.
Clement's been cut plenty of slack, Kris, because of the off-field shambles and so many top men in the boardroom leaving. But are we now at the stage, Kris, where you think the fans now are more and more looking at Clement himself? What's he doing? What's he not doing? The style of play, tactics, results. Does he have to be very careful now, Kris, that the intense spotlight's going to be more on him than the boardroom?
Yeah, well, I think that you can cut him some slack in terms of he's probably had to answer a lot of questions that is probably out with his remit because of what's been going on up the stair at Rangers. But in doing that, he's probably got away with a few things as well, because he's got nobody to answer to up above. I know John Gilligan has come in now, but no CEO, director of football, whatever you want to look at it. And I think sometimes as a manager you can get distracted by that. But I think looking at Philippe Clement, he's pretty headstrong in terms of he strikes me as someone that's my way or the highway. And looking at the way he has went about it, I think he's still been able to focus on the players that he's had and what he wants to achieve. And as I said, it was a case of judge me in a few months' time. Now all of a sudden there's a few bits and bobs of judges at the end of the season. I've been in the dressing room at Rangers. I've been in the stands. I've been in the whole environment where it starts to turn, and you just get that feeling that you go back to Giovanni Van Bronckhorst. We said the exact same thing, that the fans, players sometimes with their body language, their performances, you can cut them. You can look at it and say, right, okay, he's not performing well. It's down to confidence. Blah 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 blah. You look at maybe people upstairs. Yeah, he's still the man to turn it around, and they'll back the managers and everything. But as soon as the fans start to turn, and you kind of get the feeling, I'm not saying all the fans have turned, but it's getting to that stage now. As I said, they don't want to go to their work on a Monday morning, and everybody's having for Celtic fans here, there's fans of other teams, taking the mickey out of them because of something the manager said, something he's tried to cover it up with an excuse. I think sometimes you're better just not saying anything because it's there to be seen. Everybody can see it. I'm not saying that the players are not trying, because that's just not the case. You go into every game and you try, but there is something not working right now at Rangers. Whether there's a softness, whether there's that lack of confidence we speak about, somebody needs to do something, because it's a million miles away from where it needs to be. And I'm not saying in terms of going and challenge with Celtic, that's what every Rangers fan expects. But in terms of being the best of the rest right now, it's not even as good as that.
He's now a year in the job, Kris. Are Rangers better or worse than what they were when he came in?
Worse. There's no getting away from it. I said it yesterday during the Sky game yesterday. I look at it and I get the fact that Rangers had to clear out, had to clear the decks and maybe start again and be given time and maybe Philippe Clement has had to pick up the pieces from previous regimes, shall we say, in terms of that recruitment department, because it's been miles off it as well. But you just kind of get the feeling that everything's just now being thrown in the pot. Bad performances, bad recruitment, lack of leadership, shall we say. And it's all coming home to roost now for Rangers. And somebody high up needs to get a grip of this, because it can't continue. And I'll say it, I hope I'm wrong here. I hope I'm wrong. But you then look to say, as soon as the fans start to, they're not going to games. It's difficult going Thursday, Sunday anyway, because of the kick-off times. And but you kind of get the feeling that, a lot of fans, working really hard all week to fund their tickets and everything else, that goes along with going to a game of football, whether it's family, whether it's parking, getting there, whatever, the travel arrangements. There's a lot of hard-earned money spent going to games now, and if they're not getting anything in return, it's been, so many times that Rangers have returned to this point in the last few years, since winning the league. There's always been a high, then all of a sudden it just, fell off a cliff as such, and that's where it's at this moment in time. To say that you kind of get the feeling it's going to get worse before it gets better. And as I said, the next 21 days is going to be huge for Rangers Football Club. And it remains to be seen, if you come out it. But there's one thing, looking at it, the performances, and I don't care what MD says, they are miles away from where they need to be.
Real mixed emotions for you, of course, Kris, at Rugby Park. The other team close to your heart, Kilmarnock, terrific performance. How much praise do you give Derek McInnes and his players?
Huge. I think, Derek, I said it yesterday, we get caught up in the whole thing whenever, one of the old firm lose a game of football, and it's always how bad they were and everything like that. But, I think sometimes you've got to give the credit to, I know Celtic didn't win, but you've got to give credit to Aberdeen in terms of the way they showed resilience to come back. You look at Kilmarnock being able to beat Rangers yesterday, added to the fact that, the two games that they had against Celtic last season and things like that. Kilmarnock are a good team. If you just look at the table, they're in a false position until yesterday. I think that, obviously Europe did have a big part in the start of the season, but now, they look as if they're in the groove. Vassell, for me, is a handful. He does so well bringing others into the game. And I don't think, Kilmarnock, in terms of that, it was more like themselves in terms of that rigid, solid back four yesterday. I thought that the four guys across the back, McCrory and Nets, were excellent. And that was a foundation to build from. I think if you go and speak to Derek McInnes today, or even after the game, I don't think at any moment he felt in danger. He'd full trust in his defence. Whether that was down to Rangers being so bad or, how good his defenders were. But I think when you look at the bigger picture here, there was only one team going to win that towards the end of the game. And Kilmarnock, they finished game strong. We've seen that at Dundee. They finished, yesterday at Rugby Park very strongly as well. And, that's them level in Dundee now as well. I mean, they've got a decent run of fixtures coming up, Kilmarnock, going to Ross County next week. They'll fancy themselves now to get, to go and close that gap in Motherwell and get themselves into that top six. Because I look at their team, I look at their squad. They've got a healthy squad, good team, good substitutions as well, which I think makes a difference. And not only that, a manager that makes a difference in terms of the substitutions, bringing them on whenever the time's right to, and getting an impact from them. And I think that's key. But when you look at Kilmarnock, the European football obviously had a bearing or a factor in where they are right now. But Kilmarnock will be fine, that's for sure. And a really, really all-round terrific performance from them yesterday.
Celtic Aberdeen, Kris, what a game. If there's a better game than that this season, I think, we'll be doing well to see something better than that. I mean, Aberdeen, in terms of the Premiership, Kris, and giving Celtic something to think about, how big a result was that for them?
Oh, huge. I mean, I think as well, because, listen, I fully expected Celtic to wipe the floor with Aberdeen. And sorry. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn. It was 2-0 at half-time, and you felt as if, Celtic had missed a couple of chances. You kind of felt as if, it was just a matter of time before they get the third, fourth, and potentially even the fifth, because we've seen Aberdeen capitulate at Celtic Park before. But, and I think Brendan Rodgers, he spoke about it after the game in terms of, he was pleased enough with his performance. He knows if Celtic perform like that 99 times out of 100, they're going to win the game. That's just the way that Celtic play. They weren't able to kill them off, and then Aberdeen find a way back into it. But you've got to give Jimmy Tillini and his staff a lot of credit in terms of being brave at half time to say, well, we're 2-0 down, we've nothing to lose, but we've got players that are confident right now that feel as if we can take this game to Celtic and have a go at them. And Derek, Celtic were spooked a little bit the second half whenever Aberdeen had 3-4 players running at that back line and causing them problems. The pace that they've got as well, and what a pass that was from McGrath as well for Sockler to go through. I know you look at the result and the way the goal scored and everything, but that pass just over the top it and drilled. Really
finish was terrific.
Finish was unbelievable as soon as you got through, and that's been one thing where you may be looking at Sockler and think to yourself, can you? There's always been when Miovski was there, you felt as if when he went 1-1 it was a goal. Sockler's had a few and it's not really worked for him, but you never know. Just that confidence, a goal at Celtic Park. He can maybe just go and kick on from there. But Jimmy Tillini must be absolutely delighted. Dundee United this weekend, I think it is at home, with an opportunity to another home game, go and get another 3 points. And if you do that, then that sets you up. Because it's not a foregone conclusion that Aberdeen beat Dundee or Rangers beat St Mirren, but there's a potential of a 9-point gap, 9 points after 10 games from Aberdeen to Rangers. Wow. It's what a start that would be.
Of course, Sir Alex Ferguson, no less, was in the director's box at Parkhead. And how he must have been absolutely thrilled to see an Aberdeen side go to Parkhead, a place where he regularly won, obviously, in his great days as Aberdeen manager. To see his old club perform like that in the second half must have been magnificent for him.
Yeah, I think anybody would be delighted with connected with Aberdeen or even out west. I think to have the bravery, the courage to go and actually, as I said, it's 2-0, and it is a scoreline where if you try and gamble to get yourself back in it and throw bodies forward, especially against a team like Celtic, you can be punished at the other end. But for Aberdeen, that wasn't the case, and I think Sir Alex Ferguson will be in the stand there looking at it, saying, "Well, fair play to you, because I've done it loads of times in terms of gamble, trying to get back into games. It's worked for me, and for Jimmy Tulane, I mean, it is an unbelievable start. I think there is no doubt that, listen, I said it, the fixtures have been kind to Aberdeen. You've still got to go and win the games. You still got to go and do that. That's exactly what they've done. You felt as if Saturday was going to be their first, real test of character, belief, and to show that that they firmly believe that they're up there challenging and have the right to be there. But they've came away from Celtic Park with a lot of boxes ticked in the positive manner, and that can't, it won't derail them. Obviously drawn with Celtic and losing that winning start that they've had, because been 2-0 down, coming back 2-2, unbelievable scoreline for Aberdeen, and the dream goes on. The dream goes on for the Aberdeen fans.
I mean, they're 14 unbeaten now. Can we now say Aberdeen are the real deal this season, Kris? Or do you still remain to be convinced?
I don't want to bust or pop their balloon, shall we say? But I mean, look, they've had a fantastic start. I keep coming on here every week and saying, the fixtures they're going to get harder. They are going to get harder. But there's one thing: they don't have any European football, which you've got to throw in the mix as well. They're going week to week. They are very well organised. I spoke about it last week. Their back four is as good as anything for me that we've seen for an Aberdeen team for a number of years. I think Rubicic, when he got injured last year, they did miss him. He was raw, but you could tell when he got injured, it was a big miss for him last year. I think Devlin at right back has been outstanding and deserved his Scotland appearance during the week. I thought he's been terrific for Aberdeen. But going forward, there's a belief. Shinnie's he's been over the course and distance, but obviously get his goal, a little deflection the weekend. But his performance and his drive and determination, and Jamie McGrath looks back to the player that we all thought he was. He had a little dip in form, and he'd been playing. Maybe he was one of those ones. He was that good a footballer. You can play on the left, you can play on the right, you can play centre. But right now he just looks to be beaming with confidence, and being able to pass the ball the way he did, and Saturday was unbelievable. Plus adding goals to his game. There's a real confidence with Aberdeen. I'd love to say long may it continue, but I'd be absolutely talking rubbish.
Celtic, of course, now go to Italy, Kris, to play Atalanta in the Champions League. And given the defensive performance in the second half, would you really fear for them that they could suffer another hiding a la Dortmund?
I don't think it will be the exact same as what it was against Dortmund. I think looking at it, a very difficult place to go. It always is. You look at Arsenal, and this is where you look at Mikel Arteta, and he's had plenty of plaudits, and rightly so, for the way that he has managed his time at Arsenal. When you look at the way that they went over to Italy and totally changed the way that they go about their business. They did set off Atalanta because they know that the threat they've got, and I think it's probably the worst game that Celtic could have had after the Dortmund embarrassment, because Brendan Rodgers was bullish in terms of, I'm not going to change, I'm going to continue to do it. If Celtic had a home game, you would have been able to continue that in terms of the way they went and destroyed Bratislava. If they had a home game, you would expect them to be bullish. But I just think now, if Celtic don't change and adapt, then maybe not only the manager, but I think even the players in game, you've got to manage it better. You can't go chasing after the ball and pressing high up the pitch or still trying to play out when it might be on to go long and losing the ball. I think the players need to identify as well when's the right things to continue with the game plan that they were told to do. They've got to manage the game better on the pitch, and by doing that, I don't think it will be the same scoreline as the way Celtic were battered in Germany. But I do expect Atalanta to win the game, but I expect a better performance for Celtic, shall we say. I don't think they're ever going to go and bunker in and sit in anywhere, but I think that there might be, for me, I would be surprised if Brendan Rodgers doesn't try to tweak something.
At the start of the season, Kris, if somebody had said to you that after the first 8 games, Hibs would be bottom and Hearts would be second bottom, how would you react to that?
You look at it, Derek, and think to yourself, it's Hearts' worst ever start to a league campaign. yet their rivals managed to bail them out and finish and are below them. I mean, you just couldn't make it up. You go back a couple of years ago when both managers was in charge of the club, and maybe even last year was it? And it was they were speaking about whoever loses is going to be sacked. You kind of you look at it right now and think to yourself, for David Gray. I mean, I hope they stand by him because, you can't, I think Hibs, in terms of the way they've went, they've brought in Malky Mackay to oversee everything. And you look at Hibs, but how many late goals can you lose? Again, that's not David Gray's fault. I think the players on the pitch need to take responsibility. I mean, the goalkeeper at the weekend, what's he doing? I mean, what is he doing? Trying to come and collect a ball or even punch it. I mean, he had to duck down to try and punch it. I mean, it's crazy. It was crazy. But you look at it. I mean, no matter what happens on Saturday in the Scottish Premiership now, both of them are 11th and 12th. Come kick-off time at 12 o'clock on Sunday. I mean, Hearts have had a reaction, and I think it could be a good appointment. Critchley coming in there. Looking at the way that
you think so, Chris?
Sure? I do.
Yeah.
I know. There's a lot of Hearts fans probably not happy with the whole appointment, but I don't think that the way that the potential of I don't think it'll be long before it's announced in terms of Tony Bloom and everything taking over the football department side of it there. I don't think, they don't want a manager who's going to, I want this one, I want that one, because it doesn't work like that. If you look at Brighton, you look at Union St Gilloise, they're giving the players, go and coach them. And, there's one thing right now, Critchley is a fantastic coach. I mean, I know that. I've been spoken to loads of people within the game that, speak really, really highly of him. And that's what Hearts want now going forward. Someday, there you go, there's the players, you go and concentrate on that, we'll do everything else for you. You'll be part of the meetings because, in terms of feedback to it, but I don't think he's not going to have that much of a say in who comes in and who goes out at Hearts. What his remit will be to coach on the field, go and get the best out of them, organise a team, you take care of that, and we will deal with what we need to deal with at boardroom level.
Did you feel even before the crushing win over St Mirren that Neil Critchley was a good appointment, Chris?
Yeah, I did. As I said, for me, I think looking at on the grass, if you're going into this setup where the analytics company as such will deliver the players for the manager or the coach, it has to be good on the grass. And I have yet to speak to anyone who has had a bad word to say in terms of on the grass coaching and the way he's went about it. Listen, there might be another side where, in terms of the media and stuff like that, you do need to, portray yourself as a manager as such. But I mean, for me, looking at it, all the work in terms of recruitment, the players, that will be delivered with the analytic company and delivered to Neil Critchley on the pitch to go and train them. And for me, I think it will work because that there's no excuses. You go and coach your players. We'll deliver the players. If the players are not being delivered, it's our fault. If you're not coaching the players properly and getting results, it's your fault. You will lose your job and we replace you. But Hearts will have full backing on what they're going to do right now. And, I think it was a good appointment. I know maybe Hearts fans were looking for the big star-studded name and, somebody that's been there or even, a foreigner coming in that had managed at X, Y and Z level. Neil Critchley's got a really good name in the game, and I think for me it was a shrewd appointment.
Big wins for St Johnstone and Dundee, just to wrap up, Chris. And Simo Valakari's still waiting for his visa. I mean, maybe he's better off just staying in the stand rather than. I mean, if that's the kind of performance they get, and obviously for Tony Docherty, Dundee ends a 4-game losing run, big results for both of them.
Yes, 100%. And I think obviously Tony Docherty would probably still be fizzing from the way that they lost the game against Kilmarnock, and you're thinking, we're going to Motherwell will be doing really well, but can we go there and get the 3 points? And Lyle Cameron obviously scores the goal. Fantastic 3 points for Dundee, big 3 points. So I said you're looking at them, and their confidence will be high again now. Motherwell get Celtic next week as well. So I mean that Kilmarnock, we spoke about Kilmarnock and Dundee, looking at it saying, can we maybe then push on and close the gap? And Motherwell now, both of them have got an opportunity to do that next week. And St Johnstone, I mean the front two cause problems for the will cause problems for most teams. I think Nicky Clark as well seems to be back to his best in terms of making things happen for St Johnstone. So, I mean, looking at, you said it there, it's a bit like yourself, Derek. I mean, it's better when Roger's not there and you're taking control of this. Same with Valakari. Might be better just saying there, Roger Hanna might just be better staying wherever he is right now and you do this every week. And then what a show we would have.
Couldn't possibly comment, Chris.
Fair play to St Johnstone, as I said. They, 3-0 at home. They don't really score a lot of goals, but 3-0. And obviously, was it Dundee and St Mirren for them up next? They'll fancy themselves of maybe nicking a few points there as well and climbing that table. But it was a hammer blow for Ross County.
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Chris, and always enjoy
I'll
your
see
views.
you next week.
All the best.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can find all the latest in Scottish football, and also stay in touch with Sunsport Online and our social media channels. Thank you for watching.